Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the Roman Empire never collapsed. Not in 476 AD, not ever. The eagle banners still fly. Roman laws still shape governments. Latin is spoken by hundreds of millions, and the most powerful nation on earth is Rome. It sounds impossible, but here's the strange thing. Even after its collapse, Rome never really disappeared. Its laws survived. Its roads survived. Its language survived. Its ideas survived. In many ways, you're still living in Rome's shadow, which raises a fascinating question. If Rome could influence the world for nearly 2,000 years after its fall, what would the world look like if it had never fallen at all? To answer that, we first need to understand how Rome became so powerful. Rome began as a small city in present-day Italy. Nothing about it suggested future greatness. It wasn't the richest city. It wasn't the largest. It wasn't even the most powerful. Yet, over centuries, Rome transformed itself into one of the greatest empires in human history. At its peak, it controlled territory across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. More than 50 million people lived under Roman rule. The empire stretched from Britain to Egypt, from Portugal to Iraq. But that's not the impressive part. The impressive part is how Rome held it together. Roads connected distant provinces, laws created order. Trade linked entire regions, and Roman soldiers enforced the empire's authority. The famous Roman legions were disciplined, organized, and terrifyingly effective. They built roads, fortresses, aqueducts, and entire cities. Everywhere they went. For centuries, Rome kept growing, and many people genuinely believed it would last forever. But forever is a long time. Rome didn't become powerful by accident. It fought for nearly everything it had. One of its greatest rivals was Carthage, a wealthy empire in North Africa, led by one of history's most brilliant generals, Hannibal. During the Second Punic War, Hannibal did the impossible. He marched an army across the Alps with elephants. For a moment, Rome looked finished. Defeat seemed inevitable, but Rome survived, then did something extraordinary. It came back stronger, eventually destroying Carthage completely. Rome conquered Greece, expanded into the Middle East, absorbed Egypt, and dominated the Mediterranean. Victory after victory transformed Rome into a superpower. But every empire creates enemies, and every victory creates new problems. The seeds of Rome's collapse were already being planted. Most people imagine Rome collapsing overnight, but that's not what happened. Rome died slowly, very slowly. The empire became too large, too expensive, too difficult to manage. Corruption spread, taxes increased, civil wars erupted, generals fought each other for power, emperors came and went rapidly. Meanwhile, pressure along Rome's borders continued growing. Germanic tribes pushed against the empire. Invaders crossed frontiers. Cities became harder to defend, and little by little, Rome weakened. Then came 476 AD. The last Western Roman emperor was removed from power. Traditionally, this marks the fall of Rome. The empire that once ruled the Mediterranean was gone, at least in our timeline, but history is full of moments that could have gone differently. A better emperor, a stronger economy, one successful reform. Sometimes that's all it takes. So imagine Rome solves its problems. Corruption is reduced, the economy stabilizes, the army adapts, and the empire survives. What happens next? The first change is Europe itself. After Rome fell, Europe fragmented into hundreds of competing kingdoms. But in this timeline, that never happens. A single Roman government continues ruling vast territories. Many wars never occur. Others look completely different. The map of Europe becomes almost unrecognizable. Then comes technology. Roman engineers built incredible roads, aqueducts, concrete structures, massive cities. If that stability continues, knowledge continues spreading. Innovation continues growing. The scientific revolution may arrive centuries earlier. The Industrial Revolution may arrive centuries earlier too. But here's where things get really interesting. What if Rome reaches the Americas first? A stronger, wealthier, more advanced Rome might invest heavily in exploration. Roman ships cross oceans centuries before Columbus. And here's where the timeline starts breaking. Because once Rome reaches the Americas, every major empire in history changes. No Spanish Empire, no British Empire, no United States, no world wars as we know them. Language changes too. Instead of English becoming dominant, Latin may remain the language of government. Think about that for a moment. Every scientific paper, every international treaty, every airplane announcement, every website, all written in a language that most people today only encounter in history books. Religion changes, politics changes, national identities change. France, Spain, Portugal, Italy. Many modern nations may never emerge at all. They remain provinces, inside a giant Roman superstate. But perhaps the biggest change isn't political or technological. It's psychological. For nearly 2,000 years, Rome has served as a reminder that even the greatest powers can collapse. No empire is permanent. No nation lasts forever. But if Rome never fell, history might teach a completely different lesson. Not that empires eventually die, but that some can endure indefinitely. And that raises one final question. Would a world ruled by Rome be more stable, more advanced, more peaceful? Or would humanity spend 2,000 years living beneath the shadow of a single empire, with nowhere else to turn? Because Rome fell nearly 1,500 years ago. Yet, pieces of it are still everywhere. If Rome still shapes the world after its collapse, what would the world look like if it had never collapsed at all?